Hi, I'm Glenn Tinley with ITV Winnipeg, and I'm here for the March 2011 update with our mayor, Mr. Sam Cates. How are you doing, sir?
Excellent. Pleasure to be here as always.
It's kind of nice outside. It's warming up a little bit.
I like it. I like it a lot. The sun is shining, the snow is melting, and hopefully a very slow melt.
Yes, I do not want my building to turn into an ark. So,
Amen. I'll just call you Noah.
yeah, yeah. It's although I've seen the rivers drop quite a bit in the last little, like they're obviously prepping.
Good.
So let's get right to the hot topic of right now. The city's operating budget is out, and the talk amongst the community and media and everybody has been, wasn't supposed to be a property tax increase. Instead, there's a frontage levy increase, which some say is the same as a property tax increase. And so let's maybe just start with what is the difference, and what was obviously we were trying to raise more money from the city standpoint, but what's...
And I think that's the first thing that everybody has to understand. The city of Winnipeg is facing two significant challenges. Number one, we need more revenue. And the reason we need more revenue, we need revenue for operating, and we also need revenue to address our current $3.8 billion infrastructure deficit. So those are the challenges, and our expenses continue to rise. Mm-hmm. Okay, so here's, we put a budget forward, which is a balanced budget, and there is a property tax freeze, which is part of it. And what we have done is we've increased the frontage levies, which have gone up. I should let you know, they haven't gone up in a decade now. It's been 10 years. Okay. So we've increased them by what we believe to be inflation. But in the meantime, I can tell you construction inflation has gone up about 72% in those 10 years. So you can see the challenges. But here's what we've done. When you have general revenue, it all goes into this pot called general revenue. And a lot of people think it's this, this big void of money that just disappears. So general revenue, money going into there, I mean, it's used for the expense of the City of Winnipeg, but it doesn't help you with your infrastructure. Okay. So what we've done, we've identified, okay, the frontage levy, 100% of those monies, all those revenues from frontage levies will be dedicated and spent only on infrastructure, curbs, sidewalks, roads, etc. Everything else goes into general revenue, is spent all over the place.
Right.
Okay, so that's the significant difference. And the realities are, even though we've identified frontage levies for infrastructure, that's just the first step. We still need to identify a lot more revenues to deal with our infrastructure deficit. Okay. So, I mean, as you can appreciate, anybody can say anything. You can say anything, I can say anything, a counselor can say anything. What I've just told you are the absolute facts.
Right. So what kind of dollars will that raise?
Well,
budget
out of the frontage levy, you should get approximately, to bring in at least another $14 million. So I think about $14 million.
Yeah, that's the number I've heard.
Yeah, and what we're saying is that 100% of all monies generated through frontage levies goes to infrastructure.
Okay.
That's never been the case before. Because as I said, operating money can go anywhere. And keep something in mind, the vast majority of our money, okay, it would frighten most people, goes for basically, salaries and benefits. That's where most of our money goes, paying people. That's what it's all about.
Yeah. So is this, just so I understand, is this 14 million of what I'm going to call new money, or is this basically, you've said, we're taking this component from the budget and we're going to shift it so that it falls under this line item to say street repairs, for lack of a better, street maintenance and repairs or infrastructure?
It's the latter. We're taking all that money and putting it in this specific category, and it can only be spent on infrastructure. Now keep something in mind. Every year out of our operating budget, we put more money into our capital, cash to capital. We increase it $2 million every year. So that money is also being spent on infrastructure. So we're spending more money, but the monies that you and I are talking about are specifically in a new category and only for infrastructure.
So it could be presented, this is off the cuff, that in actual fact what you're doing is saying if it goes into general operating and we have cost increases over here, that is going to suffer because we're going to have to pull some dollars from that. But if we allocate
Could disappear
this,
like that.
yeah, I mean, flood, but different things. Salary increases to staff, which we'll chat about with the situation with CUPE right, soon as well. But so it could be, this is the money that's going to this. This is where it's allocated. That's where it gets spent, so that City Winnipeg, Winnipeggers, understand that okay, yes, we're paying more, but our streets are going to be theoretically in better shape.
Correct. And on top of that, as the city continues to grow and more homes are built, there'll be more money into this pot for infrastructure as well.
Okay. The other, and I cannot remember who I heard being interviewed. There was, and it was actually Paula, was being interviewed by CBC, Larry Updike. And one of
Councillor
the things.
Havexbeck?
Yes,
Okay.
sorry. One of the things that she pointed out was there are some people who are not affected by the levy currently that are not going to be affected. Like if you're currently not paying a frontage levy, it's not like you're now going to start paying a frontage levy.
You only pay a frontage levy if you're getting the services. There are people living in their city who don't have the same services as you may have. They don't pay that frontage levy.
Right.
It's only for people who have the services.
So it's not, I mean, her point was it's not like we're extending this so that now everybody's going to have a frontage levy tax. It's, if you're currently paying it, it's going to be more, and we're going to raise money to fix the streets.
Yeah.
If you're not currently paying it, it's not like we're just going to introduce it to you.
It's tied into getting the services. If you're getting the services, you pay the frontage levy. If you don't, you don't pay.
Okay. So,
Which is, I'm glad she pointed that out.
and I think that was because part of it is it can be presented sometimes that, you know what, hey, the mayor said there's no property tax increase. We say this is a property tax increase, but a property tax increase would affect everybody who owns property.
Absolutely.
If you're on the roll, you're
And this does not impact everybody, so it's totally different.
Yeah,
it's totally different.
It's new monies, and they're allocated to a specific thing. So, and I think people need to understand that that is the reality. And
Well, that's the reality, but as you can appreciate, it's not always easy getting out the reality.
no, well, because it's spun different ways and different things. I mean, we're trying to figure things out, but it's I think Winnipeggers need to understand that I own a piece of property, and so my frontage is X, and it might go up, and it might be $60 a year. It's sort of the number that I've heard on average, and I can understand for low income, some of that might make a significant difference. That's $60 extra dollars, but for the average Winnipegger, I think is probably more comfortable saying, okay, it's $60. I can probably find $60 over the course of a year.
I'll tell you.
If my streets are going to be.
Well, that's the key thing, where it's going. But I'll tell you something else, another benefit which people don't realize. It also basically motivates high density
Sure.
residential complexes, because you have high density which is going up. They still have less frontage, which means they pay even significantly less than what you and I would think. So, and we want high density.
Yeah.
That's what we want. I mean, that's what everybody talks about.
Yeah.
So it's interesting because you get councillors who always talk about, hey, we need high density, we don't want urban sprawl, and yet we do this and they're against us. So you know what? It is what I've always said, no matter what you do, somebody's going to criticize.
So it's homes and commercial?
Frontage levies, yes.
Yeah, so whether that's a condo development or an apartment block that might get built that you say goes
If
up.
you're getting services and you're fronting on a street, and you only pay on your frontage.
Yeah.
Because some people were concerned about, what if I live on a corner? No, you only pay on the frontage.
Okay.
Not on the side. Okay?
Well, so that's what I wanted to get cleared up today, was that's what that is, that's where it's allocated, and that's how it's being set up, so that that's what it is.
That's correct.
Okay. Quickly, CUPE, the city's in sort of negotiations.
Canadian Union of Public Employees.
Is your negotiations, not you yourself, but the city of Winnipeg is in negotiations with that union. Where are we with that? What's your sense?
Oh yeah, and I'm glad you qualified that. I mean, we have a professional team of negotiators who sit down at the table with CUPE's representation. Okay, it's not the mayor or councillors that are sitting down
Right.
in these meetings, and a lot of people get that impression. You know what? I actually believed we were making some headway from what our representatives were telling us. And as I said earlier, I think it was extremely unfortunate that almost from day one, the Minister of Labor basically advised both parties that the minister was prepared to, have a mediator do this, and actually already come up with a name. And this came up when we were actually dealing with a conciliator. And the conciliator actually told, the minister and the bureaucrat who came forward with this, said, you know what, not only is it not a good idea, okay, but it's totally premature, and this could prevent us from getting a deal done.
Right.
Well, in the end, with the conciliator, unfortunately, we never got a deal done. Now, what has happened, the CUPE has made an official request, because no request had been made up until then, of the province for a mediator.
Okay.
And we have responded to the province, letting them know that if that's what CUPE wants, we're fine with that. Let's move on and get back and discuss.
But things are sort of in a progression.
We're waiting right now for the minister to appoint a mediator as per the request of CUPE, and as per us saying we're fine with that.
Okay, so we'll be able to sort of retouch this in April.
Oh, I can assure you.
And see where things
And
land.
God willing, we'll be able to, bring everything to a good, positive conclusion.
Well, hope so.
I hope so too.
Everybody's reasonable, so.
That's what it's all about.
Okay, well, that was our very quick, probably one of our quickest updates.
The quickest, I can assure you.
But,
and you look really good today, by the way.
Thank you. A very important dinner function tonight with Mr. Izzy Adonijay in town from the Chicago Bears.
I'm looking forward to it. I will see you there.
And we're
exciting.
We're excited. He's on the cover of Winnipeg Men magazine as well, and we've dedicated the cover. And this is, nobody knows this yet, but it's all Chicago Bears colors and U of M Bison's colors.
I love it.
That's
I
how we've
love
done
it.
the colors. Very,
and
very
the Pan Am and the Pan Am.
Well, that's for the Pan. He's coming in as a recipient for the Pan Am Clinic Foundation.
I think that's important, because I need to tell you, Pan Am has rebuilt its entire body. Okay.
I'm amazed at what they do over there. I'm truly amazed.
An unbelievable facility.
Yeah,
and great professional people there.
It's a good
really
addition
care.
to the healthcare system. So,
okay.
Thank you very much.
My pleasure.
And I am Glenn Tinley, here in the Mayor of Winnipeg's office, signing off for our March 2011 update with the Mayor, and we will see you in April.